In The Brothers Karamazov, Fyodor Dostoevsky gives us many ways of responding to a broken world. There is Ivan's intellectual rebellion, Alyosha's faith-driven love, and then there is Dmitri Karamazov, raw, impulsive, tormented, and painfully alive. Dmitri is the brother of passion. He lives at the edge of excess, swinging violently between ecstasy and despair, devotion and degradation, self-loathing and self-justification. If Ivan represents the mind and Alyosha the spirit, Dmitri represents the body and all the chaos that comes with it. Dmitri Karamazov is often described as the most animal of the brothers, and Dostoevsky encourages this reading. Dmitri is driven by desire, jealousy, and rage. He is loud, reckless, and incapable of moderation. But to dismiss him as merely brutish is to miss Dostoevsky's deeper intention. Dmitri is not simply uncontrolled. He is morally awake in a way that makes his suffering acute. He feels his sins intensely even when he continues to commit them. From the very beginning, Dmitri lives in a state of inner contradiction. He despises his father, Fyodor Pavlovich, for his greed, vulgarity, and lust, yet he mirrors many of those same traits. He condemns his father's pursuit of Grushenka, yet pursues her himself with obsessive intensity. He longs for honor, truth, and redemption, yet repeatedly sabotages himself at the very moments when those things seem possible. Dmitri's tragedy is not ignorance, it is excess. He feels everything too strongly. Love overwhelms him, shame crushes him, hope intoxicates him, despair drives him toward violence. Unlike Ivan, who distances himself emotionally, or Alyosha, who absorbs pain quietly, Dmitri explodes outward. His inner life is public, chaotic, and self-destructive. At the center of Dmitri's turmoil lies his conflict with his father. Their rivalry is not merely financial or erotic, though it is both of those things. It is existential. Dmitri sees in Fyodor Pavlovich everything he fears becoming. His father is the future Dmitri dreads, a man ruled entirely by appetite, unrestrained by conscience, laughing at the very idea of dignity. This is why Dmitri's hatred of his father is so intense. It is not just resentment, it is recognition. Dmitri believes he has been wronged financially, cheated out of his inheritance. Whether this belief is accurate matters less than how it consumes him. He becomes obsessed with money as a symbol of justice, freedom, and self-worth. Without it, he feels trapped, humiliated, powerless, dependent on a father he despises. But money is never just money for Dmitri. It is bound up with love, especially his tortured relationships with Katerina Ivanovna and Grushenka. These relationships reveal the deepest contradictions in Dmitri's character. With Katerina, Dmitri is entangled in guilt and honor. She represents his better self, the man he wants to be but cannot sustain. His engagement to her is rooted not in love, but in obligation and shame. He accepts her money, betrays her trust, and then punishes himself endlessly for it. Katerina becomes both judge and mirror, reflecting back Dmitri's sense of moral failure. With Grushenka, everything is different. Grushenka represents desire, temptation, and the promise of total emotional surrender. Dmitri does not idealize her in the way he does Katerina. He wants her completely, recklessly, without restraint. His pursuit of Grushenka is obsessive, humiliating, and violent, but also, strangely, honest. With her, Dmitri does not pretend to be virtuous. He shows himself exactly as he is. These two women pull Dmitri in opposite directions, tearing him apart. One calls him toward honor and redemption. The other calls him toward pleasure and annihilation. And Dmitri, incapable of moderation, throws himself fully into both, destroying himself in the process. What makes Dmitri distinct from the other brothers is his relationship to guilt. Ivan intellectualizes guilt. Alyosha absorbs it compassionately. Dmitri feels it physically. Guilt for him is visceral. It burns, it suffocates. It drives him to confession and to crime, sometimes in the same breath. Dmitri frequently declares himself guilty even when he is innocent. He takes responsibility not only for his actions, but for his intentions, his fantasies, his rage. In this way, Dmitri embodies one of Dostoevsky's most radical ideas. That moral responsibility extends beyond what we do to what we desire. This becomes crucial in the aftermath of Fyodor Pavlovich's murder. Dmitri does not kill his father, but he wants him dead. He fantasizes about it. He threatens it publicly. He rushes through the night with blood on his hands, blood that turns out not to be his father's, but that hardly matters. Dmitri has rehearsed the crime so thoroughly in his soul that when it happens, he cannot convincingly separate himself from it. When Dmitri is arrested and put on trial for the murder, the case against him seems overwhelming. His behavior has been wild, erratic, violent. He has motive, opportunity, and a history of threats. But the deeper reason he is convicted is not evidence, it is character. Dmitri has lived as though he were capable of this crime, and so the world believes he committed it. Dmitri's trial becomes one of the novel's most powerful explorations of justice, guilt, and identity. Legally, Dmitri is innocent. Morally, he feels guilty. This contradiction torments him. He accepts punishment not because he believes the verdict is fair, but because he believes suffering is deserved. This willingness to suffer marks a turning point in Dmitri's development. Throughout the novel, Dmitri speaks repeatedly of wanting to be reborn, to suffer his way into redemption. Unlike Ivan, who resists guilt, or Alyosha, who seeks to heal it, Dmitri embraces it. He believes that only through pain can he be purified. This belief is dangerous, but it is also sincere. Dmitri's acceptance of suffering is not resignation, it is aspiration. He believes that through suffering, he might finally become worthy of love, of forgiveness, of life itself. In this sense, Dmitri is the most overtly Christian of the brothers, not in doctrine, but in his understanding of redemption through sacrifice. Yet Dostoevsky complicates this impulse. Dmitri's desire for suffering risks becoming another form of excess, another indulgence. He sometimes seems to romanticize punishment, to cling to it as proof of his moral seriousness. The question remains open. Is Dmitri seeking redemption, or is he simply punishing himself because he cannot imagine forgiveness? Alyosha plays a crucial role in Dmitri's development. Where others judge or manipulate him, Alyosha listens. He does not excuse Dmitri's behavior, but he refuses to condemn him entirely. Alyosha believes in Dmitri's capacity for transformation, even when Dmitri does not believe in it himself. This belief matters. In moments of despair, Dmitri turns to Alyosha not for answers, but for permission to hope. Alyosha does not promise him justice. He does not promise acquittal. He offers something quieter, the assurance that suffering does not erase the possibility of love. As the novel draws toward its conclusion, Dmitri faces a terrible choice. He is offered a chance to escape prison and flee to a new life. This plan tempts him deeply. He wants to live, he wants happiness, he wants to love and be loved without the constant weight of guilt. And yet, he hesitates. Dmitri is torn between freedom and responsibility. Escape would spare him suffering, but it would also mean abandoning the moral reckoning he believes he owes the world. To stay and accept punishment feels unjust, but to flee feels dishonest. This inner conflict reveals how far Dmitri has come. Earlier in the novel, he would have seized escape without hesitation. Now he questions whether freedom without truth is worth having. Dostoevsky leaves Dmitri's ultimate fate unresolved. This ambiguity is deliberate. Dmitri is not a finished soul. He is still becoming. His story is not one of resolution, but of struggle. Dmitri Karamazov matters because he embodies the human condition at its most exposed. He shows what it means to live without filters, without protective distance, without intellectual abstraction. He feels life directly and pays for it. Where Ivan suffers from thinking too much and Alyosha from loving too deeply, Dmitri suffers from living too intensely. And yet Dostoevsky does not condemn him. He sees in Dmitri a raw honesty that the other brothers lack. Dmitri does not hide behind ideas or ideals. He shows us the cost of desire, the pain of guilt, and the longing for redemption in its most naked form. Dmitri's story asks an uncomfortable question. What if salvation does not come through understanding or faith, but through enduring the consequences of who we are? What if redemption begins not with purity, but with confession? In Dmitri Karamazov, Dostoevsky gives us a man who is neither innocent nor cynical, neither saint nor nihilist. He is fallen, striving, broken, and still capable of transformation. He reminds us that moral life is not lived in theories, but in choices made under pressure, in moments of weakness, and in the willingness to suffer for something greater than oneself. Dmitri Karamazov is not the hero of the brothers Karamazov, but he may be its most human figure. He shows us the danger of excess, the inevitability of guilt, and the fragile hope that even the most chaotic life can still move toward meaning. And in a novel obsessed with the question of how to live in a world full of suffering, Dmitri's answer is not clean or comforting. It is painful, but it is real.